Hey guys, this is Michael from EAKCrewProductions, and I wanted to get into Darkworld a little bit more. So, one thing that happens is, so a lot of people consider Darkworlds like tier 0 first round, because unless you're playing a macro build, Darkworlds have probably got your number, unless they draw like all monster hand. I mean, I've seen people go so neg as to only have 2 cards in their hand in Darkworld, and then somehow with those 2 cards make a hand of 5, with a field setup. So Dark Worlds are, they're pretty nuts. So a lot of people, like I say, like to consider them tier 0 first turn, which is somewhat understandable. I mean, I don't think the deck's that good. I do think it's great and it's a wonderful deck, but I don't think it's that great. Now, then a lot of people like to say that after that, it's just a sucky deck once you've sided in, because everyone knows Dark Worlds exist. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people hate playing against Dark Worlds. As a Dark World player, I hate playing against Dark Worlds. So a lot of them have sides in there, Gemini Imps and like junk like that. So, you got like Gemini Imps, which is good in the mirror match as well. And Macro Cosmos and Soul Drain and those kind of cards to hinder Dark Worlds, because Dark Worlds need an outlet to discard. They need that graveyard. If you can block that off, if you can block off those effects, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, even though Soul Drain is a little more effective there, but Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is a better side card overall, unless you're running Dark Monsters. So you can stop the engine by getting rid of things like that, or by getting rid of the Graphas, which is really the problem monster, unless they're running Sylvas as well, which can be, it's a 2,300 beat stick that with Gates is a 2,600, so pretty crazy. But if you can bottomless all the Graphas, if you can maybe get some off with macro, if you can deprison a few. Well, I see a lot of people not running deprison as much. I think it's a phenomenal card. But if you can do that, then you pretty much have Dark Worlds beat, because other than the tour guide play, they don't really have any strong monsters. So as a Dark World player, you have to sit there and reflect and you say, oh man, so like, what can I do as a player to make it so that they don't block all my outlets? And well, instead of citing in all this hate for these other decks, what Dark World needs to realize that if they are truly a tier 0 deck first turn, then they need to make it so that first game, they remain a tier 0. And how do you do that? You destroy what stops you. And what stops you is cards that stop your outlets, which all happen to be spells and traps. So if you're running 2 MST and a Heavy Storm, which I run, cite in the 3rd MST, and I would go so far as a Dust Tornado. Pretty old card, but it's a phenomenal one. I don't think people really recognize how good Dust Tornado is. Obviously, we don't need it this format because there's 3 MSTs and a Heavy Storm, but Dark Worlds can use it. Alright? And this card is great because I don't think anyone's ever read the second effect of Dust Tornado, but, you go to do something, they chain macro, boom, you chain Dust Tornado. They're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, But the greatest thing about Dust Tornado is that second line. I'm going to read that off to you. Well, let me read the whole thing because it's a then kind of thing. Target 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls. So, okay. Destroy that target. Phenomenal, right? Then you can set 1 spell or trap card from your hand. So, then you have this option to set this spell or trap card. That's great. Because that means that you can set a trap card on your opponent's turn. So when it's your turn, you can flip it. I don't think you realize how great that is. Obviously, you could have played the trap card on your turn when you set the Dust Tornado, but maybe you didn't want to. Maybe you wanted to set just the 1 Dust Tornado in case they had MST. Now that way they MST your Dust Tornado and not the card you were going to play from your hand. Now, however, you know that they don't have the MST because they didn't hit this card, and then you set a card, and now it's playable, you're going to be able to flip it. So it's a very great card, and you know what? It's one of those thens, so it's got the ability to make people miss timing, If you're destroying a card that says, when this spell or trap card is destroyed, do this immediately. This guy gets over that. Because just like Raikou, this has two effects that happen one after another, and it's not simultaneously. So if you use this second effect, the then portion, you can get over cards like Gear Town. So you want to MST, or you want to get rid of your opponent's Gear Town, you can Dust Tornado it, and then set a card, and then they won't be able to go. So, I mean, that's pretty good, just all by itself, because I freaking hate Gear Town OTK. But, anyways, Darkworld players, you know, look into these kind of things, get them to stop destroying your outlets, and if you can do that, if you can get them to, if you can stop all the hate that they cited in, then it's like you're playing a regular match again. It's like you're back to round 1. And if you're back to round 1, you're back to tier 0. If you're back to tier 0, you're going to win the match. So that's Michael from EAKCrewProductions. Like, comment, subscribe, click an ad. I'll see you guys later.